Hello there, welcome back to the old Git Reacts Reviews and Off Times Reminisces. For some time, in fact more or less ever since I've been doing this, I've been umming and ahhing about doing a Blut Aus Nord reaction review. I've never got around to doing it for some reason. There's no particular reason for it, but I haven't. As is the case with the band, I've got most of their early albums. I've got none of their more recent ones, and I don't know why that is either. I think the problem is I tend to click onto an album when it comes up, have a quick flick through to see if it grabs me. If it doesn't, it's there and then. Very often it gets left behind until either it's forgotten or curiosity gets the better of me and I go back and have a listen. Which is the case with this album, which I occasionally go back and listen to see if it engages more than it did when I first listened to it. And to be fair, with this one, it has. There are one or two standout tracks for it that mean that finally I bought the blooming thing, but it took a while. I read it quite a long while, in fact. So anyway, we're going to do this track, which is probably my favouriteest on the album. For reasons that I'm sure will become apparent. And if I can find it now, we'll have a listen. Let me put some volume on before we start. I always forget to do that. Boom, 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 boom. Let's go. For me, I'm sold on the initial melody. It's one of those melodies that, dependent on your mood, will either bring you tears of joy or tears of misery. In every case, for me, it brings me tears of joy. Not that they're apparent yet, but if my face was masked in some way, then a trickle of a tear would appear. Anyway, so yes, just it's a fairly simple melody, but let's be fair, the simplest of melodies are often the ones that grab you the most. But it just tugs at the soul, and as I say, I've only just bought this album after such a long time. But when I heard this track, it was nearly a there and then purchase. But I'm always cautious with, well, no, I'm not always cautious with my purchase. Sometimes I make reckless purchases and regret them afterwards. But no, with this one, I can listen to this track time and time again. Perfect. So those of you who know Blut Aus Nord know that the artist rarely makes a straightforward album, and within those albums none of the songs are particularly straightforward either, particularly nowadays. Um, exploring new boundaries, and but always instantly recognizable as this particular artist, whatever direction they go in, by and large. Now I say that as someone who's informed in their earlier work, not so informed in their later work, and there are a couple of the more recent albums I need to go and listen to properly, really, to see if they engage. Now I've done the flick through with them, and they didn't, and that's no detraction from the work. It's just that as with much of the stuff I listen to, I really need to give it more time for it to click, or chance to click, before I sort of move on. And it's probably a large volume of music that I've left behind, which really I should have spent more time on, because the immediacy of music isn't always the best way of of picking what you want to listen to. But anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, so interestingly, there's a theme in black metal over recent years of the magic of mushrooms, and I'm not quite sure when that came in, but this album was probably is the date on here? No. Oh yeah, from 2019. So maybe somewhat at the forefront of alluding to the qualities of certain mushrooms, fungi, but yeah, and you can see it in the composition. There was a hallucinogenic quality to this album in particular. So when I listen to this album, I've listened to it a few times now, and generally I tend to listen to it with headphones in the dark, and it does remind me of sort of the more vivid fantasy novels you may find out there. And don't ask me to quote any, because I sort of even some of my favourite books, I can't remember the name of the book or the blooming name of the artist, the author, half the time. But it is sort of sometimes this reminds me of Michael Moorcock's Dancers at the End of Time, just because of the vividness of it and the sheer fantasy of it, and in some ways the not ridiculousness, but the fact that you have to suspend your belief at times as to whether that particular story can ever take place. And that's the joy of fantasy, of course, is that it doesn't matter if it's real or possible. It's there to take you somewhere where those things don't matter. And this is what this album does for me. It sort of takes me places where on the basic level are inconceivable, but the more you sort of let yourself be consumed by it, the more believable they are in their possibility. Yeah. So there you go. There was something shamanistic about this track and some of the other tracks on this album. It is almost ritualistic in its composition, and as I say, you are taken. I mean, I mentioned that Michael Moorcock book. I was thinking after I said it, this is perhaps a bit too dark for a direct analogy, and it wasn't a direct analogy I was making anyway. It was more the sort of the way that this is far down the path of challenging your challenging your imagination, shall we say? That's what I'm going to say. But yes, so this is, I mean, the album cover here really does depict the colour of the music therein. That we are talking purples and not necessarily the brightest of the bright, but certainly the richest colours you can imagine, which is a good thing. So there you go. I've never been bored by a Blut Aus Nord album, although I've found sections within some of the albums boring momentarily. But no, this album, particularly when I'm in a certain mood, just ticks all the boxes really, and I need to now go and listen to more recent work and see if what ticks or what boxes are ticked with those ones. Anyway, clicky bollocks, catch you all next time. Cheerio.